In this study, we are determining whether emergency physicians can adequately measure diastolic function. You will need to use the mind ray ultrasound machine that is labeled as the tissue Doppler machine. We only have one machine in the emergency department that is capable of performing this study. Start by obtaining a parasternal long axis view of the heart. By looking at the mitral valve and squeeze of the heart, estimate the ejection fraction as normal, mildly decreased, moderately decreased, or severely decreased. Next, you will use M mode to calculate the EPSS. You do this by clicking the M mode button on the bottom right of the screen. Next, use your finger to drag the green line over the distal end of the anterior leaflet of the mitral valve. While keeping your hand steady on the probe, click the M mode button again. This will give you a tracing. If done correctly, you will see the first point, the E point, and the second point, the A point. When you have 6 to 10 seconds, click Freeze. Now click Measure towards the bottom left of the screen. Then click Distance. Put the first indicator on the septum and place the second indicator on the E point. Remember, the E point is the first spike on the tracing of the anterior leaflet of the mitral valve. Record the measurement of the EPSS. For the second part of the study, obtain an apical four-chamber view of the heart. You will need a clear view of the left ventricle, the mitral valve leaflets, and the septum. The right side of the heart is less important and need not be visualized fully. Ask the patient to lay down in the left lateral decubitus position in order to obtain a better image. With this view, you will determine whether or not the patient has diastolic dysfunction, and you will need to calculate the E velocity and E prime velocity. You will first calculate the E velocity. While holding the probe steady, enter the pulse wave mode by clicking the PW button on the bottom right. Use your finger to bring the pulse wave box into position just distal to the mitral valve at the far reaches of the leaflets. Click PW again to get a pulse wave velocity tracing. When you obtain 4 to 6 seconds, click Freeze at the bottom of the right corner. Now click Measure. Now click VEL, which is short for velocity. This will allow you to measure the velocity on the tracing. Place the green indicator at the peak velocity of the tracing, which will be above the line. This will give you the E velocity. Record this value in centimeters per second. Next, you will be measuring the E prime velocity using the tissue Doppler mode. Return to the four-chamber view of the heart. While holding the probe steady, enter the pulse wave mode by clicking the PW button on the bottom right. Use your finger to bring the pulse wave box into position directly over the septum, just distal to the mitral valve annulus. At the bottom right, click TDI or tissue Doppler imaging. You should see the image in view turn red and blue. Then click PW again to get a pulsed wave velocity tracing. When you obtain 4 to 6 seconds, click Freeze in the bottom right corner. Now click Measure. Now click VEL, which is short for velocity. This will allow you to measure the velocity on the tracing. Place the green indicator at the peak velocity of the tracing, which will be below the line. This will give you the E prime velocity. Record this value in centimeters per second. Now you will grade the diastology. Calculate the ratio between the E velocity and the E prime velocity, which is E velocity divided by E prime velocity. Once you make this calculation, use the value to grade the diastolic function using the following graphic. Congratulations! You have finished the study.